Hello, sorry I missed yesterday. I record these the night before, usually. Um, I just didn't get to it. I'm kind of apologize for that. But this is still Troy A, Shadowing Tronics, still taking part in Art Soundoff, a vlog, audio log, whichever you prefer, discussing the art of comic making, and I'm going to go somewhere and I don't know where. Okay, so I think I've touched on this subject in previous challenges, but it's always one that's always worth coming up because every challenge, every anything is somebody's first, and which is something that probably would make it an interesting topic in itself. But it is the topic of motivation, and let me fix this camera. And it has been something of an issue with me because it has been something. I should have set these things up beforehand. It is kind of been an issue with me because it is something that I've kind of been struggling with. First off was all the stuff I went through in uh, 2015. I took time away because I had lost my mom. 2016, I lost a lot of time because I was sick. I've discussed that to death, but I was very sick. Hospitals and convalescent homes and everything else. So creating content has been kind of difficult that time. 2017 was about recovery, and then 2018 I've had other problems. YouTube demonetized me because I wasn't one of the cool kids. Now you've got all this Article 13 stuff coming out of the European Union. If you read my website, I'll be getting more into that later tonight. And it just seems like there's forces out there trying to make sure that nobody can make a living unless you're part of the big studios. It's also been trouble trying to find the time or the energy or both to take part in other pursuits. There have been days where I haven't wanted to write an article or I haven't really wanted to do a comic. And it's probably easy for me because right now I'm not making money off any of this. This is not my job. I don't have to worry about a client. Deadline is to people who obviously like my stuff, and I've got over 200 followers on my website and over 100 here on YouTube. And not to, I got a bunch on Twitter, but I don't know how many of them even. I don't think too many of them were even reading the actual websites. So I know not too many of them are watching these art sound offs. But it comes to the question of just how do you motivate yourself? How do you get yourself to work on something, especially if you have a client or if you're working for a big publisher, but even just for your own personal projects, if it's just something you're doing on the side and that's kind of what I've been getting into lately because I mean, I kind of know that this is what I'm at creating stories is what I'm supposed to be doing. I have too many stories running through my head to not want to be a storyteller. Problem is, sometimes you just don't have the motivation because you don't know if people are really paying attention. You don't know if people honestly care. And I think part of the reason I'm doing it is just because I'm just so stubborn. I've just been talking about the anniversary of BW and all the three projects I work on, the articles, the comics, and videos, and I like making those. I like things that I've gotten out of those experiences, especially the comics because that's what I want to do with my life. But I've also had experiences as a video creator and as a blog, and learned things as a blogger that I would not have otherwise. But sorry, kind of late. But I'm kind of worried, like, if I get a job, how much effort can I put into that stuff? So then I don't want to going full force into it because it's not my job. It's not making me any kind of income. And I know when I find an actual job eventually, hopefully, I've got to worry about whether or not I'm going to have the time to do it once I find a job, because this hasn't paid off. So then I don't lose the motivation to do that. Then I start losing the motivation to look for work. And I stop losing the motivation to do a lot of stuff. There have been days when I've kind of forced myself to get something done within a deadline that I set for myself. And I would like to think that it would be that if I had a client, if I had a boss, that I would push hard for it. I've never really had a job with much of a deadline because I've never really had a creative job. I've worked in a grocery store. I've worked at a library. I was a telemarketer for about a month. So I never really had a job in the creative pursuits. And that's another thing with motivation, is trying to figure out how to do something like that. It's how to not have to work in an industry where I got to deal with people at large, and just sit at the computer, at the art desk or whatever, and just create, just write stuff, just draw stuff, just make stuff happen, bring things into the world, because that's my draw, that's my interest. And this is actually not helping. I think the problem is I got that light over there. This is unprofessional. Okay, that's better. Sorry, these are the things okay, focus, thank you. These are the things that I think about when it comes to producing stuff. And I'm always trying to make better stuff. I always want to learn how to improve my writing and my videography and my drawing and editing and image editing and researching skills, which I've never really been much of a good researcher, really, until I started doing this site. But that's kind of the problem is that I've been having, is trying to get motivated to do stuff. And really the only push that I have is I really want to. I really feel drawn to making stories. I have a lot of opinions on the stories that exist, and I want to do all these different things and be successful. Or if not financially, which is what I'd like to be, because if I'm successful financially, then I can focus all my attention just on this, just on creative pursuits. But to at least be successful in that I accomplished something and maybe brought something good into the world. And which is really why anybody should want to be a creator, is because they want to create, not necessarily because they want to be rich. I don't care if I'm rich. I want to make a living at it, because so I can keep on doing it. Is I think is the way it's supposed to go. Not you keep doing it because you want to make money. You try to make money at it because you want to do it. So I would love to hear some tips on ways people come up with to try to get themselves motivated to work on their comic projects or video projects or article projects. These are all very time consuming, but I've also gotten so many good rewards out of it. And I just really, at some point, I would like to be focusing just on the storytelling angle, but I still enjoy doing the review stuff and commentary stuff and everything else. How do you guys balance all these different projects, especially those of you who have to deal with families or, life. Maybe this is a side priority for you, and you got to do a job somewhere else. But the thing is, how do you get motivated to stay creative and push towards your goals? That's kind of the fight that I've had lately, because so many things keep trying to push me down in my personal life. Like I said, with YouTube and Article 13 and everything else, it seems to be a push away from creativity unless you're part of some big studio. And the internet was probably the biggest push toward the best thing for independent creators since Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles got people to start making more independent comics. Now you've got the resources to make independent movies. You've got the resources to make your own comics online, and maybe make some money from ad revenue or from print versions or digital collections or whatever. But I got to figure out how to actually start pushing in on that and making things happen. Right now, I think I just need a good night's sleep. But yeah, that's kind of something that's on my mind right now, is trying to figure out how to make myself active and to do things and create things. So that's kind of my problem right now. That's my big obstacle, and that's kind of what's on my mind a lot of the time. But if you want to see what's on the mind, what other kind of things are on my mind, you can go to bwspotlight.com. That's my website. And like I said, tonight I'll be discussing what I think is the big concern with the European Union's Article 13 and its potential threat to create through independent creativity. If you want to see what the other Art Soundoff people are saying on other topics, go to Twitter and look for the Art Soundoff hashtag, and maybe even go scrolling further back and see what people from previous challenges were saying, and maybe see how that's changed between then and now. And if you want to join us, there's only like 3 of us taking part last I saw, so you can still join us. Just go to artsoundoff.com and they'll tell you how to set all that up. Because even if you just do one, even if you don't even broadcast it to the world, but if you just do one, you've still technically taken part in the challenge. But I'll talk to you guys hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully I'll remember and have the energy to do this, because it is kind of interesting to get my thoughts around this thing. But until then, I wish you all happy creating.